Phil, let's end with this. It's in the news. We got to cover it. It's our job. Your lawsuit. One thing that stood out to me was you say you want to go year by year. You think that's the fair way for prize fighters to be treated? I guess why not even just fight per fight, which is kind of like what we see in boxing, where they might hold a contract with a promoter, but still, it seems like they're able to negotiate, per fight. Can you clarify exactly what it is you want, like in that regard?
Right. So, I'm not specifically, we've placed fourth. We've placed fourth a couple of possible resolutions to the state of play as it is now. There could possibly be another way to solve the problem, but at the end of the day, as a fighter, you want to fight the best in the world, and if you are outside the UFC, you can't fight the best in the world because most likely those people are locked up in long-term contracts with the UFC. And as long as they are still valuable, they can't get out of them. They cannot get out of them. And the real issue is you should be able to fight the best fights, the best fighters, wherever you are. If you are proving yourself against the best people, you should be placed against the next best person. That's how sports work. And that's all we're asking for. And if a 1 year contract term solves that, then that's perfect. If there's a even better solution, we're open to that as well. But that's where we're at.
From your point of view, would you want, let's say, someone that's out of the title picture, maybe the loser of, because obviously the UFC is going to have their little thing going on, right? But maybe someone like Yuri, you would want him to come to you at PFL. That way you're fighting a higher level of competition because he's a former champ and all that. Or are you saying your freedom to dip in and fight over there, but then also be able to go back to PFL? Like, which are you talking about in both directions, or?
So I feel like you're still a little bit locked in the paradigm that we're living in right now. Why not co-promote an event, PFL versus UFC, and main event is myself versus whoever? This is where it becomes problematic, is because I was the Bellator world champion, and shortly thereafter Glover Teixeira becomes the UFC world champion, and I had a very decisive win over Glover Teixeira. Why shouldn't I be afforded the opportunity to become the outright champion of the world?
Got it. Okay. Well, it's making me think of all the different things that could happen, and that would be nice. And I don't know how many times I've wondered that, because see, we rank all the fighters here at MMA Junkie, and many times we've had to convince people that, Patchy Mix, prior to his loss, he's a top 5 guy, maybe he's a top 3 guy, and maybe he'll bounce back and win the next few. And and obviously Kayla Harrison.
Yep.
So fighters going back and forth. And you brought up Pride. Remember when Pride was the #1 organization?
Absolutely.
And UFC was fighting to get their respect? You know what I'm saying? And
Yep.
then they did, when they finally did merge. And it was fun for the fighters. It was fun for, they got new matchups. It was fun for the fans. So, yeah, I mean, history has shown us that. Now, granted, they had to acquire them, but it would be nice to see some sort of a back and forth, like when Dana did send Chuck Liddell to participate in the Grand Prix that they had over at Pride.
Right.
We got treated to him versus Rampage, him versus Alistair Overeem. I love that.
Absolutely, that was great. That was great. But where I feel like the sport takes big losses is you just jump in when you know the name. But there was a guy, if I tell you the weight class, you'll know exactly who it is. But there was a guy who was widely respected as the best in the world. Widely respected as the best in the world. Never been in the UFC. He has a laundry list of who's who, and pretty much beat them all by knockout. They made movies about this guy. He is you know, in his prime, he was just an absolute stud. And because you know, he saw his value, and so he refused to commit to a long-term contract and join the UFC. And you know, he never fully got all of his due respect, as they would say now. He never really truly got his flowers. You know what I'm saying? So I'm talking about. Do you know
Wait,
who I'm talking about?
is your favorite hat a fedora?
Was this guy maybe not Russian to get to the UFC?
Very tough. I mean, I know you guys would pick. You sniffed that one out right away. But
Dude,
yeah,
it's
you know,
so sad that he's not even in the Hall of Fame, because there is no Hall of Fame. But there is one eligible to him, actually. I don't know if you have to have one fight or what. Kazushi Sakuraba's in. I think he only fought twice in the UFC. Most of his career was in Pride. So yeah, he's gotten slighted in many ways.
Yeah, and you know, phenomenal in every sense. Phenomenal fighter. And you know, I would have loved to see him fight you know, several more guys that were amazing when he was in his absolute top form.